I got the idea for this when I released this image here in the last video, because everybody automatically thinks as soon as they see the square and compass that you're some sort of Freemason and you're working for the man. Well, to me it's obviously ancient knowledge, and it does actually mean what's on the top left hand corner, the square and compass. It comes straight from the Bible. The shape of the earth with the four corners and the angels on each corner, and how God inscribed a circle into the earth, into the plane. Okay, whether that's done from the sun melting the ice, we'll get to that. And then how the checkerboard, you see that as well, and that's obviously a reference to a plane, again, it being flat, and they both link together, don't they? So you've got a flat plane inscribed with the square and compass, and it is ancient knowledge. And I've showed you the turtle in the past, is it Mayan, and that's a reference to the firmament. Well, it's a reference to the waters of the deep surrounding the earth. That's why they've got the earth on its back, because obviously turtles are straight from water. The fact that there's a sun and the moon there has been done in recent times, ignore that. And then on the right you've got the Sumerian god Enki. You get Enlil, don't you? But funny enough, because they link this to ancient aliens, when in fact Enki is the god of water, and he's actually the god of the firmament, right? So how they managed to spin that round and make him the god of this Nibiru planet that's coming through a vacuum, I suppose you can read this yourself. I can't quite see it, but all the major cultures across the world from the past all knew where we lived, on a circular plane with a dome. Half of them at least are showing, well, they seem to be cut into quarters, right, as if like in the Bible when it speaks of 4 rivers running out of Eden. I will explain more of it later, but you can see that some of them seem to be cut into quadrants. And but anyway, where does all this deception come from? Obviously, personally, I think most of it has come from the Vatican. I think they are the holders of knowledge. And for instance, this image here, why would the Pope be sat under such a satanic structure like that? Seems to go back to Baal, doesn't it? Sacrificing children to this Baal god, and it runs through to recent times. I mean, these are indeed NASA mission patches, and you can see that there's something linking to some kind of serpent. So when you look at images like this, there is the character Pythagoras there. In fact, all of them are holding the square and compass. So obviously, personally, I think that this is what they were trying to depict. And the globe earth has been interjected since. For instance, Pythagoras is stood next to a purple, which is the royal colour, isn't it? A purple globe. So added to images like this since. But either way, there is a glaring question, and that is, what would be the reason for all this deception, this Satanism, removing people from God? And I mean, I looked around at everything that I've been doing, and I thought, well, maybe in the past they were just that pissed off. They saw just how many times the earth had been destroyed, how they kept on building society, civilization, only for it to be destroyed. So they completely removed the creator and started to snub him. the covenant with God was that with the rainbow that it wasn't ever going to flood the earth again. So what did they do? Apple, the computer company, make it their logo to create an apple with the logo having the rainbow on it, but also having a bite out of the apple referring back to the Garden of Eden. And then their computer, their first ever computer, sold for $666. You know, if you think all this is by accident, I mean, I can't help you, but before that, their original logo, before they actually made the computer, was in fact the exact same image as what's on the right here. A man sat under a tree biting out of the apple. None of this is by accident, is it? This is just a decent picture to put in the video, but it doesn't do justice to the size of the Tower of Babel. I know there's various sizes, all of them are huge, but the biggest one that I've seen, that even Rob Skiba has put out, show me the information to prove that, is that it took most of a day, let's say 2/3 of a day, to walk around its base, is how big it was. But this image here, where Captain Cook sailed around the perimeter, the ice wall, 60,000 miles before they had to give in and set off back north inland. I think that is the main reason why they won't allow anybody to travel past the 60th latitude south is because anything, well, let's say past the equator south, you will be able to get a team of ships and set off east or west, which would take in a circle, and you would be able to measure the distance, which would take longer, wouldn't it? The further you travel to the ice wall south, if you travelled in a circle, it would take much longer, and that would obviously prove the flat Earth, that it's travelling around a central position, a pole. But I'm just throwing out crazy ideas here. You know, none of them that I can prove. I'm just throwing out crazy stuff. Like when you look at these mesas, they show you the little, what they call trees on the floor, and they're not. They're actually just little twigs from the top of a huge tree. The entire plain, areas like this, are completely eroded, petrified trees. The entire thing that you're looking at on the picture is the remains of a tree. It's just one single tree, right? And when I show you stuff like this, where they will say, geology, that, you know, some wood, some trees have been crushed between rock, right? Because they have to explain it that way with their millions and zillions of years. I've shown you how trees, basically let's say 90% of all rock on Earth has all come from wood. It's petrified, saturated wood in various ways. Your limestone there on the bottom, the coal and the sandstone on the top, which is due to heat and pressure. Now whether or not the coal is turned like that in the centre because it's sap, I'm not quite sure, but it is indeed what it is. But like when I show you large trees like this, because I don't know what the Earth is, it says that we're on some pillars, the pillars of the Earth. So I'm referring back to the Garden of Eden. So we ate from this tree. Did we die on the spot? And we're bound to this tree forever. And these large trees, the original trees, what we think are the original trees, were they just growing from something larger? Because life begets life. It's another reason why I know that we're surrounded by water and not a vacuum. Vacuum's not a life giver, water is, right? But as you see in the image, you can see smaller trees, what we have today, growing from the remains, which is now almost rock, of something larger. Well, were those large trees also growing from something that were dying off, which was the Garden of Eden tree of knowledge? Yes? Well, I don't know. I'm just throwing these ideas out.